Broward County. Let's look ahead, see what we've got coming up here. We do have slower moving traffic. It's going to be very, very dangerous here as you see him pass on the inside lane there. Again, our ground speed, about 115 miles an hour. The dispatchers are in communication with the helicopter that's feeding, as we said earlier, information back where this is heading, and we understand that there's going to be some kind of a roadblock being set up here a little bit farther up ahead because this is out of the residential neighborhoods here, out on the open highway. So we're going to continue to follow this here. You have this black Mercedes SUV crossover, that's the way it was described, fleeing from the scene of a shooting down south. The police believe at least one suspect, maybe two suspects inside that vehicle as it continues northbound here. I'm looking over at my GPS. It's telling me that let me just hang on just 1 second and ask my pilot. Joe, what approximate? All right, we just passed Griffin Road northbound on US 27. Getting that information from my pilot, Joe Mancino, as we continue to follow this vehicle northbound at a tremendous rate of speed, or a very, very high rate of speed.
All right, Ralph, as we continue to look at these live pictures, if you are just joining us, you are looking at a pursuit here on US 27. It has gone into Broward County right now. The call originated as a shooting in the Hammocks area. As you look at these live pictures along with us, Ralph, you had mentioned there that he's going at about 115 miles an hour from what you can tell. No ground crews at this point?
There were ground crews, as we said a little bit earlier, much farther back. As a matter of fact, down by the casino there off of Southwest A Street. That's when they lost visual contact with the vehicle, but they realized that there was no place for the vehicle to go. There was no place other than to stay on Chrome and continue northbound. So they had a good idea. They did judge the approximation of the speed and where they would end up, and that's where the helicopter flew to that point, just as we did when we left North Perry Airport, and we all intersected at approximately the same time. Saw the vehicle coming northbound as it crossed from Chrome and at the junction of US 27, where it and Okeechobee Road and US 27 now continues northbound. What's this next one coming up, Joe? That's okay. Okay, I'm being advised that we are now coming up on Griffin. There's as you can, you just wrecked. Right here, he spun out. And you can see there the front end damage to that vehicle right there. The police helicopter is circling around.
Down the road now because they've moved a lot of the cars. It turns out a lot of the cars between us and this actual scene were folks that had, whether they were on their commute on their way to work or if they were just making their way back into their neighborhoods, but they had gotten actually stuck between the scene and between where they shut down Griffin Road. So they have, I would suggest there were 15 or 20 cars, talking about passenger cars, that have been moved.
Yeah, Brandon, we can see right now that they have moved in. They have now surrounded that vehicle on foot. We have several officers there around the vehicle, and so this is going to end sometime very soon. Live pictures right now as this tense SWAT standoff is about to end, no doubt.
And if you're just joining us, you're looking at the end of a police pursuit that began with shots fired at a scene in the Hammocks area. The SWAT team now moving in on this vehicle. They have surrounded the vehicle. They have taken position there with the armored vehicles. And the reason for this strong SWAT presence is the fact that the suspect or suspects inside that car have already fired on officers, and it looks like there's not much movement coming from inside the vehicle. It looks like any moment now they're going to be opening that door and bringing that suspect. Here we go. The door is opening right now. You see the SWAT team moving in, and they are moving in to take the suspect out of that vehicle, that suspect who fired upon officers and fired at two other people at a separate scene. It looks like this is ending peacefully with officers moving in and taking that suspect out. Ralph, are you with us?
Yes, I can. I can talk to you here. I can tell you that they believe now that those shots that were being fired, or the shots that they heard, at least one of them may have been a self-inflicted gunshot wound here to the person that was inside the vehicle. Again, out of a courtesy, we're going to keep the camera at this distance right here, but as you watched live, the SWAT team surrounded the vehicle. They made a determination that there was no more of a threat. They opened the passenger side door and then the driver's side door there. We believe the suspect is may be deceased on the ground. We'll wait for confirmation from the police department on that, but by the body language of the police officers here on the scene, we're making that assumption.
Ralph, is it safe to say that there's just one suspect there now?
Well, all along, the police officers that were pursuing the vehicle indicated that they could not see because of the dark tints whether there was one or more persons in the vehicle, so they treated it as suspects in the vehicle. At this time, it appears that there may have only been one. We're going to wait for, as I said moments ago, we'll wait for confirmation from the authorities as to the exact end of this, but it looks like this is going to be wrapped up here as far as the standoff nature of this call. Again, a police chase starting down in South Dade, ending with a violent crash that sends at least one person to the hospital, an innocent victim here on US 27, ends at US 27 here, just north of Griffin Road. SWAT teams and members of police agencies from Dade and Broward County responding here, closing off the roadway, doing assessments. Their SWAT team members responding here, and just maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes ago, you saw live them end this standoff.
All right, Ralph, and if you're just joining us at home, as Ralph just mentioned, you are seeing the end of a very violent day in South Florida.
Miami-Dade 7's Rosh Lowe is there to tell us how this began. Rosh.
Okay, we have just gotten this information from a source of mine at Miami-Dade Police, and let me tell you what happened at this location in southwest Miami-Dade off of 124th Avenue and 190th Street, and this is information we just got a few moments ago. According to our source at Miami-Dade Police, a mother and daughter have been shot at this house. We are told that the daughter was taken to Kendall Regional Medical Center. We don't know the age of this daughter, but we understand that she has been critically injured. Our source at Miami-Dade Police also telling us that the mother was critically injured, but there has only been one transport from this home. The suspect, according to our source at Miami-Dade Police, who was in that vehicle, is the mother's boyfriend, who they were following to that scene up in Broward County. So once again, this appears to be an extremely, extremely tragic situation here. We have a mother and daughter, according to Miami-Dade Police, who have been shot. The mom gravely injured. The daughter being worked on by doctors as we speak at Kendall. But that situation, our source is telling us, does not look promising at this moment, at this hour, for the daughter. We did ask the age of the daughter, and we have not been able to get an age. I think police are still investigating that. We can also tell you that there will be other investigators from Miami-Dade Police coming to this scene down here in southwest Miami-Dade. Once again, this all began with reports of a double shooting. Initially, we did not know who the victims were in this case, but now we do understand that a mother and daughter have been shot, that both gravely injured, that the suspect was the mother's boyfriend who took off in that Mercedes. What made this challenging for police, according to our sources, is that there was a paper tag on that vehicle. So they couldn't track that vehicle right away. This is what our sources are telling us as to the identity or more information. So at this hour, they have investigators both coming to the house and to the hospital. We have been told that numerous investigators are going to Kendall right now as doctors trying to work on the daughter here, and it appears that the person who started this whole situation, at least according to our source at Miami-Dade Police, was the mother's boyfriend. Right now, if you're looking at these pictures in southwest Miami-Dade, you can see that detectives are on the scene. They have several Miami-Dade police officers, squad cars here. This is not a huge scene because, and I noticed that just initially arriving here, because they also have investigators at the hospital right now, where I can only assume that other family members are gathering, hoping and praying for the daughter in this situation, that she can perhaps make it out of this. But our source is telling us that it does not look good for the daughter, and there was only, once again, and we can't confirm this at this point, but we can tell you that there was only one transport from this home. So that's the very latest we have here in southwest Miami-Dade. Rosh Lowe, 7 News.
All right, Rosh, they're on that original scene there at 123rd Avenue and 190th Street.
Chase was broadcast live on Local 10 News, and the moment of impact shocked each and every one of us. Local 10's Janine Stanwood joins us live now from Pembroke Pines with more on the innocent mother who tragically lost her life.
Calvin and Lori, you saw this. John mentioned this. It was probably one of the worst crashes we've ever seen, and it turns out a wife and a mother named Maritza Medina, 48 years old, was in the middle of it all. Right now we can tell you that behind us, her friends and family, they've been gathering at the home here in Pembroke Pines. They are very distraught. We saw many of them crying and embracing. They are clearly not ready to talk to us yet. Neighbors say that she was a vibrant woman. She was the secretary of this neighborhood association. She was married with 2 daughters. One of those daughters she may have just dropped off at school before this crash happened, less than a mile from where we are now. Neighbors find it so hard to believe that all of this happened. Take a listen.
Wonderful lady, wonderful lady. Husband Diego, a good neighbor. Quiet lady, very sincere. Just a wonderful lady, and this didn't have to happen today.
She's a wonderful lady, sweet, always smiling, always laughing. Just a wonderful woman. But this is really bad. I mean, and we all knew it was going to happen.
Again, family and friends are gathering at the house. Cars keep coming and keep pulling up to give support to the friends and family members of Maritza Medina. Such a hard thing. There is no way to analyze this. There's no way to describe what happened other than this was an awful tragedy, and now one woman's life is gone. We're in Pembroke Pines. I'm Janine Stanwood, Local 10 News.
The 2 women who were shot and killed were a mother and daughter who lived in a neighborhood called South Miami Heights.
Local 10's Glenna Milberg has been monitoring the situation from that home on Southwest 123rd Avenue and 190th Street with what we've learned about them so far. Glenna?
Mother and daughter, you know, Lori, Calvin, what would become this carnage across 2 counties began right here. They were the first to die. They lived together in this home, and an efficiency on the side of the house. In fact, through the window, we've been watching people work this morning. And Felu, who is the mother's boyfriend, he was here often enough, so neighbors actually knew him, were familiar with him. And one of the witnesses, one of the neighbors here who heard the shots this morning, was the one who notified police about what he looked like and what kind of car he was driving. Distraught relatives first learned from one of the women's employers who had called when she didn't show up.
In the morning when I heard, like, I don't know, it was like 3, I don't know, 4 gunshots or something. I heard like pow, pow, pow.
They're good relationship. They're normal people, you know. They seem to get along good. Well,
not many people on the block knew them by name. They've only been renting the efficiency a few months, but they said it was obvious mother and daughter were close.
They were barely home. They were very quiet. They weren't problematic or anything.
They were from Santa Clara, Cuba. Mother Viviana Gallego, 51, and her 28-year-old daughter, Annabelle Benitez, both shot by a man the neighbors know as a boyfriend.
We seen him by himself when he came by in the black car because he wanted to be down, and he looked over and he threw up his hand at me. So I waved back at him.
This time there was no friendly drive-by in the street. This time he went into the efficiency and shot both women, say police. Viviana died right there. Annabelle survived initially, was airlifted to Kendall Regional, where she died in surgery.
Okay, the man went into the house.
Entrando la casa.
The man went into the house. And you saw
como al mediodía.
Yesterday, midday, the man went in the house. You saw. America Arza told us the boyfriend seemed nervous, preoccupied, looking around, but that was yesterday. Today, all neighbors heard were the shots. And we understand the mother and daughter had family here locally and family, of course, still in Cuba. As for this boyfriend, there, according to the neighbors, had never really been anything apparent like trouble. But the homicide detectives in Miami-Dade's police department right now are going back to see whether there are any kind of domestic violence calls here, anything that would foreshadow what happened here this morning. I'm Glenna Milberg reporting live tonight in Southwest Miami-Dade, Local 10.